So once you've warmed up your body, do you warm up all the shots you need before you play your first game? Most players, they play 2 or 3 warm-up games before they're actually getting to all the shots that they need to play their best from the very beginning. Today, we're going to show you what you need to do to play your best from game number 1. Hey everybody, my name is CJ Johnson and I've been teaching pickleball since before it was cool. Today, my buddy Sarah is going to help me show you all the shots that you need before you play your first game so you hit the court ready to play. So Sarah and I are going to start with what you typically see most players, the only shot that a lot of players hit, and that's the forward dink. So when I start with this shot, there's a few things that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking first of all about my feet on the court, right? How is my movement today? I want to feel myself up on the triangles of my feet. Sarah, when you start dinking, what are some of the things that you feel when you're starting to dink?
Hitting targets, aiming wide at the feet and towards the center, so I'm not always just hitting straight ahead, and my footwork as well. I like to just know that I'm ready to move.
Perfect. And so I think the big thing here is no matter what you think about, I would say think about one thing at a time. Don't try and jam it all in at the very beginning where you're thinking about, gee, I'm thinking about feet, I'm thinking about a target. Give yourself some time to warm up just a little bit. I also like to think for myself, I like to think about the stroke. I like to think about the stroke coming from my shoulder, feeling like I'm watching the ball a little bit. Just really, at first, I am just getting my body acclimated and moving, and I do that with the straight on dink.
I also think about a light grip.
Okay,
just
great.
Sort of relax my arm and make sure I'm not over gripping.
A light grip pressure. So the biggest thing there is we probably gave you like 10 things to think about. Pick one. I think I like to start with the feet. That's my very first place, is to start with my feet and my body movement. Which is the very first thing you start with, Sarah?
Start with my feet.
Start with the feet.
Get myself.
Yeah, start with movement. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we've been dinking straight on for a while. Now we are going to come and we're gonna do some cross-court dinks. And I really wanna feel myself, I'm still focusing on my footwork. I'm watching the bright yellow ball. Now, when we miss, you can just simply, because it'll usually come off at an angle, you can just simply walk over to the other side and then do cross-court from the other side. So here we go. Now I'm gonna get more forehands when I'm on this side, and I'm going to get a little different movement pattern while I'm here. Whoop. Miss, we can walk over to the other side. Sarah, what are you feeling on the cross-court dinks?
That I'm not moving my feet.
That's a good thing to think about, right?
Because when my feet are moving, everything else goes better.
Exactly. When feet are moving, everything else feels better. I agree with you. I like to focus on my triangles. That's what we call it inside of our pickleball system. One of the other things that I'm feeling here as I do this is you'll notice I'm moving back right now to allow the ball to apex, and I'm feeling myself bend. Obviously on that one, had to get down just a little bit. Oh, there we go. Are you planning to attend a pickleball camp this year? If you are, grab our free guide, the 3 biggest mistakes pickleball players make when choosing a pickleball camp, and more importantly, how to avoid them. All right, dinking's done. Let's move into volleys. Now you're gonna notice that both Sarah and I are standing inside the NVZ. So we kind of got our heels to the back of the non-volley zone. So the very first thing we do when we start volleying is we want to make this cooperative with each other, right? We're not trying to, yeah, she's going to kill me. We're not trying to kill each other as we start this out. So we're here and we're just trying to make these nice and soft. A little too soft on that one on my part. So I think about Sarah wearing a bullseye on her body. So right here she has a bullseye, and I'm just simply pushing the paddle to the bullseye on her body. I also want to stay On my triangles here, you notice we're both light on our feet. Sarah, what are you focusing on?
Stay on the balls of my feet, get a good knee bend, get it out in front, and light grip without over gripping.
Yeah, light grip without over gripping, paddles out in front. You're noticing our swings are very short. Don't get lazy here. Make sure you're returning to the center position, back to your ready position. And then as the pace is, as you're getting ready, you can now go ahead and let's pick up the pace just a little bit here. Here we go. See, it takes a little bit more concentration to pick up the pace.
Sorry.
Once you've done that, then go ahead and step outside the court. Let's go back to our outside the non-volley zone. Make sure you get yourself back in your ready position. You see too many players get on their heels when they're hitting their volleys, and we want to make sure that we're staying forward. Man, it feels like you got so far away, right?
Yeah.
Sarah, what do you think about when you're back here?
Thinking about hitting it down at the feet. Light grip, creating space. Like there, I didn't create enough space, so I got jammed.
Jammed up, yep.
Slide and get some space if I have to.
Right. Keeping the paddle out in front of my body, that's one that I'm always thinking about because I tend to have a fairly long swing, and that often allows the paddle to get behind me, and that's slower reactions. So I'm thinking a lot about in front of me, following through, and just getting a good feel for the volley. If you want more content like this, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Okay, now that we have our volleys warmed up, we're gonna warm up our drop shots. So Sarah's gonna stay here at the NVZ. She's gonna be working on her punch volleys, and her target is going to be my feet. We're gonna start with a dink rally, and I'm going to start moving backwards, and I'm just trying to hit drop shots right now. I haven't warmed up the drive, so all I'm trying to do is hit some drops, work my way back to the baseline, then work my way forward. You might have heard this drill referred to as the Slinky drill. So I'm here, we're gonna put a ball in play, we're starting with those dinks, and for me, I'm always really focused on my footwork. I'm thinking about my footwork, where I'm at. Whoop.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm here. She's going to make it tough on me, right? I'm here. We'll put another ball in play. And then I'm going to back up. She can make this harder for me. I want to let her hit a few at my feet if possible, right? So that I get a feeling of playing out of the transition zone. I'm here. Ooh, I get back in because of a net cord. All right. So I would work my way back. Once I get up here, it's now Sarah's turn to do the exact same thing. So now we've warmed up our drops. It's time to warm up our ground strokes. One of the things that I like to think about while I'm doing this, there are two things. I am actually thinking about my footwork first. I want to land on those triangles, and I'm thinking about the depth of this shot. Ideally, I want this shot to land 3 to 4 feet from the baseline. In order to do that, I typically give myself a little bit higher net clearance, say about 4 feet over the net or so. So those are the things that I'm thinking about as I start to hit some ground strokes. So here we go. I'm really focusing on my feet, giving enough space. I tend to jam myself, so I'm focusing on getting enough space for my arms to be able to swing. I do that more, jam myself more on my forehand side typically than my backhand side. A lot has to do with my footwork. That was just a little long. Sarah, what do you think about when you start warming up your ground strokes?
Moving my feet, creating space, timing.
We're thinking about a couple of things. I think what's important as you warm up your body is, again, pick one thing and warm yourself up. Once we've warmed up our ground strokes, we want to do serve and return. So this is just 2 shots. It's not a rally. I'm going to serve, Sarah's going to return, I'm going to grab the ball and serve again. Now typically I like to start using a drop serve, just helps me with my rhythm. So I'm here, I'm looking for depth on that shot, just long. Let them know, let your partner know if the ball is in or a little bit long. Today we got a lot of wind working with us. And then I also use a volley serve. So after I've hit a couple good drop serves, I'm probably gonna pull one volley serve. Make sure that I'm getting that same depth. Now I'm returning, so I'm moving my butt backwards because Sarah has a deep serve. So I'm returning, I've gauged my new good serve. Woo, that was deep. She jammed me up. That was a really good serve for the first serve. I'm dialing in on my return target.
So what I do is I look at the spot that I want to try to hit, if it's up the middle or wide, short, deep, so that my brain kind of knows where I'm aiming. And so I pick it and then I go.
Not quite deep enough on my return. Good serve. Woo!
And I also make sure that I aim some at the body.
Should have taken that on my forehand side. Give me another serve.
Because it's hard to get out of the way.
Ooh, go at my body again. All right, that was better. A little deep, shorter backswing. You notice here, I have, like we do in most places, right? I have a very abbreviated place to hit from. This is only 5 feet between the service line, or I'm sorry, the baseline and the net. So when I'm back here, because I know in this game I'm gonna have to play from back here, I'm really thinking about making my stroke short. I'm trying to eliminate a lot of backswing and focus on the follow through, and then my dot number 2 over the net to be able to get the depth I need on my return. Once we've done that, then we would simply go ahead and switch sides because you want to do it from both sides. All right, so now we're going to work on a few overheads. So Sarah's going to get an opportunity to do some overheads, and I am going to get some transition zone work. So Sarah, how do you warm up your shoulder before you hit a couple of overheads?
I always do some figure eights, let it drop down, swing through, drop down.
Beautiful. Just some nice work on that to loosen up the joint. Remember, you do not have to use an overhead. All you may have, if you come from tennis, you might have a great overhead, but if you have a punch volley, you don't need to have an overhead. If you got one, great, use it. If not, use your punch volley, but the same thing applies, is warm up that shoulder a little bit before you hit the shot. So the way this is gonna work now is Sarah's gonna feed me. I'm gonna hit the shot up in the air for her to defend. So she's gonna give me a cooperative feed here. She's not trying to kill my feet this time. Once you've warmed up, go back through and think, are there any shots that you typically hit during a game that you didn't warm up? So like one of the things we generally do is we hit lobs from both the non-volley zone and we hit the occasional baseline lob. And we didn't put those into our routine today. So make sure that you warm up every shot that you are going to hit. Any last words of wisdom?
Move your feet.
Exactly. Feet are everything.
Don't look at your paddle, it's your feet.
Yeah, focus on the feet, get your feet moving, and chances are you're gonna start your first several games better. All right, let us know what you think about this shot warm-up. Put a comment down below because together we can train smart, live bold, and age well.